Did anyone else see that story of that lady on TikTok? Wait, let me explain. So this lady said that she's been married for 8 years and that her husband is deployed overseas all the way in Germany. She says that she barely sees her husband. He comes home like 2 or 3 times a year, and when he's home, he only stays for about 2 or 3 weeks. So for the last 2 years, she says she's been feeling real lonely, and she decided to go out and cheat on her husband. She said that she went and she had a one-night stand, and this one-night stand was so good that it turned into an every-night stand. And she recently found out she's pregnant. And clearly this is not her husband's, because her husband's overseas. So the man that she's been sleeping with got her pregnant. So now her and this dude have been messing with each other for 2 years, back and forth. Mind you, she has 3 kids with her husband. She said at first they were getting hotels and stuff, to keep her anonymous. But then, after 2 years, she got a little comfortable, and now she's allowed to go to his house. He's still not allowed to come to hers because, she got kids and he don't got no kids. Usually she goes over there and, she's not really paying attention to what's in her house because she has no real feelings for this man. She just, got lonely. But one day as she's walking in, she decides to pay a little bit close attention to the pictures on his wall. And as she's looking over the pictures on her wall, guess who she sees? Her husband. So now she's freaking out because she's like, how is a picture of my husband and him in this frame on the wall? Of course, she starts panicking. She has to get to the bottom of this, but she doesn't know how to bring it up without saying, like, how do you know this man? Because this is my husband. So after a while, she decides, like, I'm just going to ask around, like, oh, who's this? Oh, that's my grandma. Oh, who that? That's my uncle. So who is this? Y'all would never believe what the man said. The man going to say, oh, that's my brother. She was thinking, like, there's no way, because she's been married to him for 8 years and he's never been in none of the family functions. Like, she never even heard of her husband speak of him. So she asked, oh, is this from your dad's side? He said, yeah, it's from my dad's side. So that makes sense because, the dad got a whole bunch of other kids. So it makes sense to why, she never really seen him. But y'all, the man she's been sleeping with 2 years is her husband's brother. But the story doesn't stop there. So he's like, yeah, that's my brother. I'm real close with him. She's all confused. Like, He starts pulling out pictures. He pulls out a picture. He said, yeah. So she's like, oh, so is he married? He was like, yeah, he is, to his wife in Germany. Yeah, they got 2 kids over there. He has a nice little family in Germany. Y'all, why the man start pulling up pictures of her husband with his wife, his new wife in Germany, and their kids? Mind you, she's pregnant by this man, who she just found out is her husband's brother. She also just found out that her husband got a whole family in Germany. So now she don't know what to do, because she's been cheating on her husband clearly has been cheating on her, and now there's a baby about to be involved. Hey, that was just a story I seen, but what would y'all do?
Okay, pause. Pause everything. I need to process this because my brain is literally short-circuiting. You're telling me she's been married for 8 years, her husband is serving his country overseas, and she gets lonely. Okay, classic setup for disaster, right? But then, nightstand into nightstand? First of all, the wordplay is iconic, but the situation is tragic. But here is the kicker, the part that makes me want to scream. She walks into her lover's house, after 2 years, mind you, looks at a photo on the wall, and sees her own husband. And the guy goes, yeah, that's my brother. 2 years. How do you sleep with a man for 2 years and not know who his family is? This is peak messy. And now she's pregnant with her brother-in-law's baby while her husband has a secret family in Germany? This isn't real life. This is a telenovela written by chaos itself. Everyone in this story needs therapy immediately. Speaking of people who have absolutely zero shame and zero self-awareness, let's talk about a different kind of audacity, the kind that doesn't ruin a marriage, but definitely ruins a small business owner's day.
She started off as my sweetest client and I ended up blocking her. Here's the story of my client who constantly pushed my boundaries as a nail tech and why you should always trust your gut as a small business owner. I had just reached the point in nail school where I was able to start taking clients and I was super excited. I had been building my social media a lot and this girl had reached out to me on Instagram Instagram and wanted to book a pedicure. So I book her for a pedicure. She comes in, we're around the same age. We actually had a lot in common, and I do the pedicure. We had a great time chatting, and then she pays and she leaves and tells me she wants to book another pedicure, and I thought I had just gained a new regular client. When it was time for her second pedicure, she had texted me just before the appointment and let me know that she had cut her toenails and that she was a little bit worried that she might have cut them too short. When she came in for the appointment, most of her toenails looked fine, but her one big toe was cut super short and you couldn't see a free edge. And she told me she was concerned about it because she said she was prone to getting ingrowns. But then she continued by saying that if she did get an ingrown, she would just call me and have me remove it. And at that point, I had to explain to her that I was unable to do anything regarding ingrown toenails because I was a nail tech, not a medical provider, and that wasn't within my scope of practice. She couldn't really wrap her head around the fact that I wouldn't do anything if it turned into an ingrown toenail, and she asked me if I would be able to just remove it for her as a friend, and I told her no, that I wouldn't be able to do that. And at one point, my nail instructor actually had to step in and let her know, hey, sorry, but Shelby doesn't do things like that, and she wouldn't be able to do anything regarding any ingrown toenails. You would have to go see a doctor. Eventually, she dropped it, and I did what I was able to do regarding the pedicure, and then she paid me, and she ended up scheduling a nail appointment after that. But a little over a week later, she texted me and told me that she was starting to get an ingrown toenail in her big toe and asked me once again if I was sure I couldn't remove it. And I told her the same thing. I'm sorry, it's not within my scope of practice. I can't do anything regarding that. And then she messaged my nail instructor and said, hey, I know Shelby can't remove my ingrown toenail, but would you be able to remove my ingrown toenail? And my instructor had to tell her the same thing. No, it's not within my scope of practice. I'm sorry, but you'll have to go see a doctor. So eventually she ends up going and seeing a doctor and getting the ingrown toenail removed, and then it's time for her nail appointment. At the time, I was still offering full sets, and so she came in and I did her nails. I added length to them. They looked really good. She was really happy. I was really proud of them. But then when it gets to the point of her paying me, she asks me if she can pay me tomorrow when she gets paid. Being the people pleaser that I was at the time, I told her yes, she could pay me the next day, and thankfully she did pay me the next day, but in hindsight, I should not have let her do that. But then just a few days after that, she texts me and tells me that she loves her nails, but that she just can't get over the length and she needed me to file them shorter because they were just way too long. I told her that I was sorry she was unhappy with the length, that, I made sure a few different times that it was the length she wanted, and she said that she thought it was the length she wanted, but they were just too long. And so we scheduled a time for her to come in so that I could file them down. She comes in, I filed them shorter, and she leaves happy. She comes in for her first nail fill, and at this point her nails had obviously grown back out again, and I asked her if she wanted to keep the length or she wanted to cut them down, and reminded her that last time she thought they were too long, and she said, no, I like the length, I'm happy with the length, we can just keep them. So I did her nails and everything seemed fine. Then again, just a few days later, she texts me and says, hey, my nails are too long, can I come in right now so you can file them shorter? And I told her I'm not at the salon right now, I can let you know when I am at the salon again, or you can message some other people that I know and see if they would be able to file them down. And then she asks me if I could just come to her house and file them down for her. She said she was way too scared to file them down herself, and I told her I understood, but that I was sorry, we would have to wait until I was back in the salon another day. I explained the situation to my instructor, and my instructor said that's fine that the first time you filed them down for her for free, but if she does want you to file them down for her again, you do need to charge her a nail fix charge, because that's still taking time out of your day to provide her a service. So I explained this to the client, that if she wanted to come in when I was back in the salon, I could file them down for her, but I would have to charge her a $5 nail fix fee. And then she told me it was fine, that she would just try to do it herself. She came in again, but then after that appointment, she told me she was going to take a break from a while for nails because she needed to save money for a little bit. Months later, I was officially licensed. I had kept my pricing the same as it was when I was in nail school for the first year I did nails, but I had also at that point created my own policies. One of those policies being that my clients needed to pay me the same day that their nail service was provided. A few months after my last appointment with that client, when I'm officially on my own and have all of these things set in place, she reaches out to me again and tells me she's in a better place in life and wants to book another nail appointment. I send her all of my policies, and she still asks me if she could book an appointment that week and pay me the next week when she got paid. And I told her no, that in my policies it states payment needs to be made the day I do your service, and that we would need to schedule her appointment after she got paid. So we scheduled the appointment around her payday. And in that same text conversation, she had also asked me if at her next appointment if she could do a luminary manicure. I'm from Utah, and a lot of people in Utah that are not nail techs get a little bit confused when they hear the word luminary manicure, because they kind of just group it as a very specific type of manicure. But really what luminary is it is a brand name for a multi-flex or a builder in a bottle gel. It's flexible, it's strong, but it also can be soaked off. So it's basically a hybrid between a hard gel and a soft gel. And there are a lot of other brands out there that also make hybrid gels. And the one that I use just isn't luminary. It's called Nail Thoughts. And so I explained that to her. And then she still followed up by saying, okay, but how much will you charge me if I do a luminary manicure instead? And I had to explain the same thing again, but basically in a different way. And I tried to be nice because I knew that she probably just wasn't understanding that it's just a product and not a specific type of manicure. And I told her the manicure part I do is the exact same as people that use luminary. And eventually I think she understood. I don't really remember the text convo besides that, but she did end up coming in for an appointment still. The first thing she tells me when she comes in for the appointment is that she wants length added to her nails, which we had not scheduled time for, because when we scheduled the appointment, we had agreed on just doing a natural nail overlay. And so when she told me that, I told her that I didn't really have time to add length, but I also explained to her that it would probably benefit us both if we did not add length to her nails, because the last time that she had length added to her nails, she constantly wanted me to file them down, and I just told her that in order to save her money and to save me time, it would just be best to not do that, and she agreed. Then she pays me and we schedule her a fill, and we make sure to schedule the fill around her payday so that we don't have any payment issues. The day before her next appointment, she texts me and she sends me a photo of what she's wanting on her nails and asks me to let her know what her nails are going to cost. I can't remember exactly what she wanted, but I do know that I told her her total would be $50 for her nails, and I know that because I do have the Venmo receipts, which I'm going to insert one here in a second. She then asks me if instead of paying for her nails, if she could just take me to lunch, if she could just buy me a meal instead of paying me for her nails. I told her again, your nails are going to be $50 and your payment will be due at the time of your service. She tells me, of course, no worries. I'll make sure you're paid at the time of service. I respect you. I respect your policies. And I was like, great. So then we end the text conversation, and then not too long after the text ends, I hear the little Venmo cha-ching. And when I saw the Venmo, I'm not even kidding you, I almost shit my pants because I could not believe the audacity of this girl. And I hate that I have to make this video 2 parts, but I do have to make a second part. But I have the screenshot of the Venmo transaction so you can read what she wrote. But go to part 2, it's already up.
As a creative or anyone who provides a service, you feel this in your soul. This client is the definition of give an inch, take a mile. First, it's the ingrown toenail. Lady, she is a nail tech, not a surgeon. Scope of practice is a real thing. You don't ask your barista to perform a root canal just because they're holding a cup, right? But the part that made my jaw drop was the payment. The Venmo request, after she tried to pay with lunch? The absolute entitlement to think you can manipulate a service worker into free labor just because you respect their policies, well, actively breaking them. It's gaslighting 101. And honestly, kudos to the nail tech for standing her ground, because people like that rely on you being too polite to say no. But what happens when being polite isn't just annoying, but actually becomes dangerous? What happens when a random act of kindness turns into a full-blown obsession?
My phone rang last night at 1 o'clock in the morning twice by a number that is not exactly local to us, but about an hour away. My immediate thought, was that something happened to one of my children, because I'm the emergency contact, and this was like DPS calling to tell me that one of my children got in a wreck and was hurt. But what it actually was is kind of insane. So immediately after my phone rings at 1 o'clock in the morning twice, I am like kind of delirious. I was still awake. I was trying to fall asleep, but I was still awake. And so I immediately go to Life 360 and I go check all of the locations of all of my kids to make sure that everybody's home and everybody's safe. And even my daughter that's at college is good. And they were. So then I get out of my bed, I walk over to my back door because I have like a glass back door and I have a guest house. And in my guest house is Alyssa. Alyssa is not my biological daughter, but she's mine. She's my kid. She's a former foster youth. She was raised at the ranch that I used to work at, and she rents from us and lives in our backyard. And as I look outside, I see a flashlight. And it's like kind of going in and out. And I'm like, what the heck is that? Who is that? Who is at my house? So I try to call the number back and it goes to voicemail, but it's a man's voice. Now I'm really freaking out because it kind of sounded professional. So immediately I call Alyssa and she sounds like she's asleep. And I'm like, hey, what the heck is going on? And she says, I'm just out here cleaning out my car. And I'm like a freaking crackhead at 1 o'clock in the morning. Why are you cleaning out your car? She's like, because I have to go on a 5-hour road trip tomorrow morning to Denton. And I need to make sure my car is clean before I leave. And I just got off work, which is true. She works until like almost midnight every night. So that made sense. But then I'm like, so who the hell was calling me? And all of a sudden the number calls back again. And I answer. And there's a man on the other side of the phone. And he says, hey, Christina, this is Andrew. And I'm like, who the hell is Andrew? And then I remember Christmas Eve of this past year, I was waiting on my son to fly back in after being in South Carolina with his family for a couple of weeks. And while I was waiting for him, I went and got something to eat at In-N-Out Burger. And I was sitting in the truck after I ate my food and I was on the phone with my dad just trying to kill time. And there was a man that pulled up in a truck kind of next to me that was towing like a small boat. So anyways, this man, Andrew, approaches my vehicle and he then says, wait, never mind. Sorry, didn't mean to bother you. And I'm like, no, what's going on? How can I help? He proceeds to tell me he had just moved down here. This was all of his belongings. He just got a divorce and he didn't have any money for food, any money for food, if I can talk. And he was embarrassed, didn't want to ask me or whatever. And I was like, no, dude, it's Christmas Eve. Like I would help normally anyways, but it's Christmas Eve. Let's go get you something to eat. So I go inside with this guy. I ask him what he wants, order his food, pay for it, let him get some food for later as well. And I'm just making small talk with him. And he's like, what's your name? I said, Christina Ritchie. And he goes, oh, cool. So nice to meet you. My name's Andrew. I'm from like Arkansas or somewhere. I don't remember, but I just moved here. I'm trying to sell this boat out here because it's one of the last things I have. It's, not worth a lot, but I don't really do Facebook. So I'm just wondering, maybe you can help me. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, sure, fine. I can post something on Marketplace. No big deal. That was that. Okay. I said, have a Merry Christmas. I left. And about a month and a half later, I get a phone call from this guy. My number is posted online, so it wasn't really hard to find my phone number. And he's like, hey, Christina, it's Andrew. And I'm like, hi, who's Andrew? So he tells me the guy that you bought the food for at In-N-Out. And I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? How can I help? So he says, hey, I kind of have a situation. I moved in with this like pastor or something and his wife. I'm renting from them. I'm basically being a ranch hand and we're kind of in an altercation. I just need support right now. I don't really have anybody. I looked you up. I'm sorry if that's weird. I was just wondering maybe you could like be on speakerphone with me and be a mediator between me and these people because we're having some tension and I have bad anxiety. I just really need your help. So I'm like, sure. Okay. So I witness this conversation between him and the pastor people. I hang up in the middle of it because it just got kind of weird and I was like, okay, this is strange, and I just hung up. So about a month and a half after that, this would have been about February of this year, I get another random phone call from Mr. Andrew. But this time it got really strange. So Mr. Andrew calls me a couple months ago and he basically tells me, asks me, hey, are you alone? And I'm like, yeah, like I was in my bedroom. My husband was out in the dining room. So he was just like on the other side of the wall, but I was in my bedroom. I was alone. And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And so he says, I just can't stop thinking about you. I need to know how much to be with you for one night. What? Homeboy couldn't buy food, but homeboy's trying to buy something else that costs a lot more than food. And I ain't selling nothing. So sorry, buddy, you're out of luck. Then he goes off on this like the whole thing about how I know you're married. I know you have kids. I know you have a whole life. I know this is inappropriate, but I just can't stop thinking about you. I immediately go get my husband because he has got to hear this at this point. Go get my husband, drag him in the room. I've got him on mute at this point. I put it on speakerphone and I ask him to repeat himself. He repeats himself. And my husband basically tells him, don't ever contact us again. And that 1 o'clock in the morning phone call last night was Mr. Andrew. And when I answered the phone, he says, hey, Christina, it's Andrew. I said, Andrew who? And he said, from In-N-Out. And I'm like, okay, how can I help you? And he says, I know this is inappropriate and I'm really sorry. And I know that you're married, but I can't stop thinking about you. And I think you're really cute and I want to talk to you. Bro didn't catch a hint the last time. I don't get it. So I very clearly, because I don't like being mean to people, so I try really hard to still be really nice to people. So I tried in my nicest way possible to basically say to him, Andrew, listen, first of all, are you drunk? Like, are you under the influence of something right now? Like, what is going on with you? He goes, why does that matter? And I'm like, I just can't understand for the life of me why you're calling me at 1 o'clock in the morning with some stuff like this after my husband specifically told you to leave me alone and never contact me again. So then he says, I know, and I know it's inappropriate, and I'm really sorry, and blah, blah, blah. And I say, Andrew, listen to me right now. I am married. I am happily married. I have a literal F ton of kids. Like, I need you to leave me alone. Like, this is way crossing a boundary. In fact, how are you calling me? Because I blocked your number the last time. And he says, I know you did, so I got a new number. Wild. So anyways, so I basically tell him yet again, listen, this is completely inappropriate. I am not interested. Leave me alone. Please do not ever contact me again. And he basically says, okay. I hang up, I go to bed. I wake up this morning and I tell my husband about it. And my husband's like, oh, hell no. So my husband picks up the phone. He says, which number did he call from? I said, I saved it because I knew you were going to react that way. And my husband's not like a very jealous person, but like he already told this guy to leave me alone. Now he's calling me twice at 1 o'clock in the morning. Like he was pissed. So he didn't leave alone this time. He picked up the phone. He called the guy. The guy answered and he very sternly told him yet again to leave me alone. Oh, and I forgot one other thing that I told this guy whenever he called me and I was like, listen, I know you've never seen my husband. I know you don't know my husband, but my husband is a very strong man who boxes 6 days a week. And he is not somebody that I would be trying to piss off by hitting on his wife and calling her at 1 o'clock in the morning. And he asked me if that was a threat. And I said, no, it doesn't have to be. I'm just telling you, my husband will protect his own, and you are crossing some serious boundaries, and you've already been asked to leave me alone, and you're not. So just letting you know that it's probably in your best interest to leave me alone for real. Absolutely wild. Just crazy to me that this guy's calling me at 1 o'clock in the morning over some crazy stuff like this. Anything like that ever happened to y'all, or am I just the only one that gets crazies calling me at 1 o'clock in the morning after just buying them food?
This right here? This is why women are terrified to be nice. She buys a homeless man a meal on Christmas Eve, an act of pure charity, and he takes that as an invitation to stalk her family. The shift from, I need help, to, I need to know how much to be with you for one night is bone-chilling. And look at the escalation. He calls at 1 a.m., he changes his number when he gets blocked, he ignores the husband. This isn't just a weird guy. This is predatory behavior. He's testing fences. He wants to see how far he can push before he gets a reaction. And shout out to her husband for stepping up, but it is terrifying that I have a husband is the only boundary some men respect. That was scary, but at least she was an adult with a support system. Now imagine facing that kind of predatory energy when you are 13 years old, completely alone, and naive to how the world actually works.
When I was 13, I had an entire fake friend group that I made up for the sole purpose of sneaking out with my 16-year-old boyfriend. See, supposedly he was always grounded, and the only way he could ever leave his house was if he waited until his parents went to sleep and then he snuck out. But he didn't live walking distance from me, so I had to have my mom drop me off at a park near his house. As far as my mom knew, I was going to Jessica's house, and I didn't know her address by heart. I only knew how to walk there from the park. The first couple times we did this whole thing, Dylan and I walked around aimlessly until 5 in the morning when the sun started coming up, and then he went back home, and I blew my mom's phone up until she woke up hours later, and then I had some excuse for her to come get me at 7 in the morning. But one night, as Dylan and I were walking around, he said, you know what, my house is down here, I need to go home. And I said, what? It's only 1 a.m. And he was like, yeah, but I have to go home. Every time we wait until 5 a.m., we're risking me getting caught. And I was like, what about me? I'm gonna be out here alone with nothing to do in the dark on a sketchy side of town for hours. It'll be several hours before the sun comes up, let alone when my mom will be awake to come get me. But he really did leave me, and there was born a series of unfortunate events for me. Now, my first thought was to go back to the park, but when I got there, it looked a whole lot different now that it was the middle of the night and I was alone. It appeared that this park was a very popular place for unhoused people to come and sleep for the night. And now I guess so was I. I really didn't know where else to go. It felt like the park was the safest place. So I just sat there for a while, but sometimes an unhoused person would come up with all their luggage and like lay down on the benches next to me, and I would have to go find a new spot because I was just worried, like, what if they're dangerous, you know? But hey, by the end of the night, it was only housed people that messed with me. Interesting. Now, I literally had nothing to do, and I didn't want to sacrifice the charge on my phone and my iPod Touch. That I had to carry around 2 devices back then, okay? And one time my phone did die, and I literally had to walk around trying to find Wi-Fi from people's houses so I could connect my iPod Touch and contact my mom. So my biggest hurdle in the beginning of the night is just being bored AF. Like, what do I do? And at some point, I'm like, why don't I just go to sleep, dude? Like, I'm exhausted. It's 2 a.m. There's nothing going on. But obviously, I'm not just gonna lay down in the grass all exposed. So I had the genius idea to go lay down in one of those tunnel slides, okay? I know, super unsafe to fall asleep like this, but like I had been there for a while and nothing was going down. I was pretty sure no one saw me get into the tunnel slide, so I felt safe. But I was only in there for maybe like 15-20 minutes before I started hearing a bunch of men's voices coming up. They were speaking Spanish and I don't speak Spanish, so I didn't know what they were saying. I didn't know what they were up to. And that just made things a whole lot scarier, okay? I was pretty sure they weren't there to see me get into the slide and they had no idea I was there. So I just laid there super still as they came closer and closer. Now this next part is very embarrassing, okay? As I was waiting and hoping that they would just leave, they actually came up right to where I was, and I heard one of them start peeing on the side of the slide that I was in. And at this point, I'm thinking it's personal. I'm thinking that they knew I was in there. Looking back, I don't think they did. But in the moment, I'm like, oh, this is phase 1 of them, like, attacking me, right? So for a moment, I freeze. Ignore my babies. But then I shoot out of the slide. I shoot out and I run. And I think those guys were probably really confused. I don't think they knew that I was there. So now I'm like, okay, I have no choice but to keep moving. And this is where it gets scary. So I find a well-lit street and I'm walking down the sidewalk. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just walking. The place that I thought was safe was not safe. So now I'm playing it by ear. So I'm walking down the street and I notice these 2 guys are kind of behind me, right? They look clean. They don't look like scary or dirty or anything. And it looks like they're just walking. So I'm just like, I'm aware of it. I'm looking back, I'm like, okay, these 2 guys are like 15 feet behind me. But then as I'm looking back, they start to kind of like come up a little bit closer on me. And then they start going, hey you, hey ma'am. So I'm like, oh hell no, what business do you 2 men have talking to me in the middle of the night? So I start walking faster. And I notice that they're also picking up speed. And they're still occasionally like, yo ma'am, hey, me? Why are you talking to me? So then I remember some advice that my mom gave me when I was a kid, and she would tell me like what to do if you're in a dangerous situation, right? And she would tell me to go somewhere public, go somewhere where there's people, witnesses. So in the distance ahead of me on the other side of the street, I see light. It's a well-lit gas station. There's cars filling up their tanks. There's people. There's witnesses. Okay? That's where I need to go. So I start running, dude. And once I get just across the street from the gas station, I cross that street. I jaywalk across that street. And guess who is on my tail? Those 2 men. Like, literally, what are you doing? So I'm like, okay, they're for sure trying to do something to me, because what do you mean? So I go into that gas station. I have no money. I don't have anything to be buying or anything, but I'm just walking the aisles. And guess who else enters the gas station? Those 2 guys come up to me, and one of them says, hey, we were just trying to help you. And they looked at me like I'm so dumb. And I'm not gonna lie, like, it worked on me in that moment. Like, I was 13, like, I felt stupid. Like, oh, was that dumb of me to be running away from these 2 dudes? In retrospect, no. And also, like, if you're trying to help me, like, why not offer help now that we're in a well-lit public area? But I'm feeling pretty stupid and scared also. So now that I'm safe-ish, I don't know what to do. I can't just like wander around this gas station forever. Now I want to sit down. So I exit the gas station and I just sit on the curb right outside of the door where I could easily run back in. It's super well lit. There's a lot going on. Like, there's a lot of people coming up and pumping their gas and stuff. There's lots of people in and out. So I'm sitting there for a while and I see this super nice, like, classic looking car pull up. And the people I saw come out of that car, it is like something out of a movie, dude. And okay, I've told the story in the past and people got upset that I like mentioned race, and I'm only doing that to give you like a visual. So I see this nice like classic vehicle pull up at the pump. Some people come out of the car and start walking into the doors. So they're walking towards me. So there's a man and two women. The man is like a black man dressed in like a colored suit. Like, I want to say it was literally like a purple suit. Like, he's looking snazzy, okay? He's looking good. And on either side of him, he has two Asian women that are beautiful, like hot, and dressed identically. And they're literally like, they have like their arms around him on either side, or maybe his arms are around them. Like, I don't know, but it's like they're all connected and they're walking, and it's like what am I looking at right now? Like, it literally looks like Cat Williams and two identical looking hot women on either side of him. Like, what? I'm literally seeing like an actual pimp right now. I'm looking up to them because they're walking right towards me. I'm right by the door to the gas station. So the guy comes up to me and I'm like, I know he's about to talk to me. Like, he's looking at me and he goes, "Hey, how old are you?" To me at the time, like, he seemed genuinely concerned. I was only 13, remember? So I'm thinking to myself, should I say I'm 18? Because, like, what, am I gonna get arrested? Like, is he gonna call the police because I'm breaking curfew or something? But then I'm like, there's no way I can pass as 18, right? So I'm like, 16? And he's like, that's what I thought. He goes, if you ever need anything, give me a call. And he gives me a card. And it's for, like, an auto body paint company. But it has, like, his name and number on it. And, like, looking back, he was definitely trying to recruit me. Like, he was definitely trying to, like, pimp me out, traffic me, like, all of that. But at the time, I was like, thank you. Like, I legit held onto that card for years, dude. I had that card in my wallet, like, just in case I need to call that guy. Like, what was he gonna do? He was gonna make things a lot worse. Thank God nothing serious happened within those events. But one thing did actually happen to me. And I don't remember if it was that night or if it was a different night. But I did get SA'd. And I will definitely, like, tell you that story. But it's hard to make that, like, a laughy, funny thing. So that's definitely for, like, a different video. Because it's a different tone, okay? So let me know if you want that story. I wouldn't mind talking about it because there's a lot of things that I had to realize wasn't my fault in that situation, and maybe that story would help somebody else to either prevent that from happening or for them to, like, heal. Okay, so if you want to hear it, I'll tell it. Let me know. And everyone's been saying I need an update on Dylan. I actually do have an update on Dylan because I started talking to him again when I was like 19, briefly, okay? And he was just a whole lot worse. So I do have some updates. And yes, I did tell this story on here when I had way less followers about a year ago. So if you've heard the story before, it was me. I've had people claim that I steal other people's stories, that I make them up, that I take Reddit stories and change them slightly. Very specific accusation and very wrong. All of my stories are true. They're real. They're my stories. Yeah. Thank you to everyone following my stories. Thank you to my followers, the commenters, everybody. Like, it literally heals me so much, and it just makes me feel so good to be able to tell my stories, whether they're really personal or like really stupid. So thank you. I love you guys.
My heart was racing through this entire story. 13. She was 13. This is the classic invincibility of youth. You think you're just sneaking out for a Romeo and Juliet moment, but you end up sleeping in a slide while strangers are literally peeing on it? That is horrifying. But the gas station scene, the man in the purple suit, that wasn't a movie character. That was a recruiter. That was a pimp. The way he asked, "How old are you?" and gave her a card, he wasn't trying to help her. He was assessing her value. It is a miracle, a literal miracle, that she walked away with just a business card and a weird memory. It shows just how close we can brush against darkness without even realizing it until years later. That pimp was obvious about his intentions if you knew what to look for, But sometimes the predator doesn't look like a villain. Sometimes they act like your best friend, your savior, your big brother.
All right, let's go. Story time. Story time about how I almost got unalived by a psychopath when I was 18 years old. Well, at least I thought I was going to get unalived. Y'all tell me. All right, let me set the scene as always. So let's picture it is 2018. I'm in high school. I'm a senior in high school. I'm broke as hell. I just kind of moved back with my mama. She broke as hell. We just broke. We ain't got no cheese for real. But we got a house, you feel me? Like, I go to school every day, shit like that. Like normal 18-year-old stuff. Now, I kind of got to take it back to 2017 to show y'all how I met this man. I'm going to change all the names just for like legal reasons because this man is like in jail right now for this case. Not my case. Another case where he actually did, you feel me, do that. All right, so if I'm not mistaken, it was 2017. I was dating a girl. Her name was, let's call her Kayla. In 2017, I was dating Kayla, and me and Kayla was kind of cool, but Kayla had kind of one of those households where you can kind of do whatever you wanted to do. We was at her daddy house, and we could literally do whatever we wanted to do. Kayla had like a crazy cousin, like one of everybody got that thought cousin. I'm just gonna say it. Everybody got that thought cousin. She was young, she had a baby, and she used to be fucking with the niggas. You feel me? So this is how I got introduced to the man. Actually, I never even got like introduced to him, but this is how I even knew about him. So Kayla's cousin was messing with the man. Let's call him DeMarco. So Kayla's cousin is messing with DeMarco. And they kind of just always be something. They be horning a nigga, though. They be horning a nigga like, ooh, whoop, he be doing this, he be doing that, he be buying this, he be buying that. And I'm like, dang, he kind of sound like a nice dude to me. Like, he taking care of y'all baby, he taking care of y'all. So this is how I ever even knew anything about this man. Like, she was just show me him on Snapchat, all this, that, and the third. Fast forward, now it's 2018. I got a whole new girlfriend. She not new. She really like a past girlfriend that I just got back with when I broke up with Kayla. So this girlfriend, let's call her Jada. So me and Jada, we've been rocking out for a couple years now, whatever, on and off. Jada is supporting my hoop dreams. Jada is telling me, like, you don't gotta work, don't do nothing. Like, I'm gonna pay for everything, you feel me? Like, you just focus on your hoop dreams. Y'all, I was ass. I wasn't going nowhere with the hoop shit. I'm gonna be honest. All right, so I end up getting a Snapchat. Let's just start getting into how I met this dude. So I get a Snapchat from DeMarco, like, hey, what's up? Ooh. I'm like, hey, what up, though, whatever. And I'm going to be honest, I don't really remember how all of this transpired, but all I know is he started sending me cheese. And it was like good cheese, like for somebody that wasn't working and that was in high school and all that type of stuff. Somehow we ended up being real cool, right? Where we would Snapchat all the time. And to mind you, I'm not even hiding this from my girl because, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit, he's sending me cheese and I'm giving her some cheese too. So she really don't really care. And she know I'm not going. You feel me? So it's like, whatever. And he wasn't even giving vibes that he liked me at all in no way, shape, or form. He didn't seem like he liked me at all. So as time started going on, DeMarco started coming to see me, right? So DeMarco would pull up or whatever. DeMarco was ugly as hell too, but he was funny. So we would like kick it, you feel me? Like we would go to the mall, we would do all type of shit, but he never, ever tried to like talk to me or nothing like that. It never gave those vibes to me. Like it never was on that. Like he was never on that. It even got to the point where I started to spend the night at DeMarco's house. Y'all gotta understand too, like DeMarco was really having. Like DeMarco was buying me game systems. DeMarco was doing all type of shit for me. And it did not click in my brain. Like now as a 25-year-old lady, I understand. You feel me? Like, yeah. Anyway, it ended up getting to the point where I even started introducing my girlfriend to DeMarco. Hey, babe, this my man's DeMarco. He cool as hell, da-da-da. We could chill at his crib. He got big house. He got this, he got that. And he cool as fuck. He do not be on that. So I'm like, okay. So I guess this is like a form of like love bombing, but in a way from a friend because we were friends. I thought we were friends. Like he would, like the first thing I remember him buying me is he bought me a dog. And I just remember saying like, damn, like I want a dog. The next day I had a dog. I had a Labradoodle. I think it was a Labradoodle. Yeah, I had a black Labradoodle. His name was Prince or whatever. And my mama had hold me. She like, you're not bringing no dog to my crib. Is you crazy? Like, we ain't got no room for no dog. So DeMarco let me keep the dog at his house. Sometimes the dog would be at my girlfriend's house, but it was my dog. And I was happy because I wanted a dog. So now my girlfriend at the time, she like, this nigga do anything for you, bae. I'm like, Yeah, he low-key would. So we get the, hey, can I get this? Can I get that? And he icing all that shit. We got Nike techs. We doing all type. We got everything. He done paid my senior dues. He doing everything for me. Like, and shit, he ain't asked me for nothing in return. And he cool as hell. So now we get to the point where I let my mama meet DeMarco. DeMarco come to my mama crib. Him and my mama hit it off crazy. Like I said, DeMarco was funny. He was cool. He was so like, I don't know. He was so charming, like, but not even in a way where I want, like, it was like, oh, damn, he a good person. Like, he used to, like, go get gas for people. Like, he would sit at the gas station for hours and get people, like, free gas. DeMarco was really having. DeMarco had, like, 5, 6 businesses. He was a millionaire. Let's just say DeMarco was a millionaire, for sure. And I knew for a fact that he was. And he didn't mind helping people out. And that was cool with me because I was broke as hell. It even got to the point where, like, my mama was like, he had bought my mama so much stuff for like Mother's Day and stuff like he spent like a band on my mama for Mother's Day. So of course my mama like, oh yeah, I fuck with DeMarco. She get the overdoing shit though. Yeah, this my stepson. What she was saying? Nah, what's it called when you? She like, oh yeah, this my son-in-law. I'm side-eyeing her though because what you want? No, he not. This is your friend. This your daughter friend. So now I'm kind of treating DeMarco like a big brother. I didn't put DeMarco like in a big brother spot. I'm trying to make sure I made sure that line was clear. I don't like you. I got a girlfriend. This is what it is. But again, he never gave me those vibes in the first place. I didn't really even have to do it. But I just be like, damn, like I fuck with DeMarco. Like, you know, he's just a good guy. So it even got to the point where my girlfriend would come over to DeMarco's house because like, shit, I didn't want to be at my house. So we would go hang out at DeMarco's house and, you know, like, shit, we just go to the movies. Like, we do whatever we wanted to do at DeMarco's house. And DeMarco was not, like, super old. Like, if I was 18, DeMarco was probably, like, 21, 22. And he was cool. Yeah. So it was, like, around the time where I was about to get my license. DeMarco was teaching me how to drive. So we was spending, I'm just trying to show y'all, like, we was spending a lot of time together. Like, we was almost seeing each other every single day, if not every single day. Like I said, he was teaching me how to drive, everything. He had, like I said, I was my senior year, so I'm paying senior dues. I'm about to get ready to go to prom. And me personally, just like the financial state that my mom was in, I knew that I probably wasn't going to go to prom because it was like, shit, we didn't have no cheese. I keep trying to tell y'all, we didn't have no cheese. And my girl done told me to stop fucking don't work because I'm going to the WNBA. So we just didn't have no cheese. So in my head, I'm already planning like, yeah, I'm going to have to ask DeMarco to pay for my prom because like it ain't no way I'm going to go no other type of way. But I'm not used to really asking for anything because DeMarco just did for me. Like, I didn't even have to ask. So it was kind of weird when it was time for me to ask. Cause it was like, you know, this kind of weird. I don't want to ask him because this ain't my man or nothing. You feel me? Like, this big bro. But I put my pride aside and I just asked him, DeMarco, can you pay for my prom dress? DeMarco was like, yeah, we're going to go look for one tomorrow. We go look for one tomorrow. I found a prom dress. DeMarco buys the prom dress. I'll take it home. You don't feel me? I got a prom dress now. Now I'm really in awe. I'm like, damn, like, DeMarco is really my big brother. Like, this is the big brother I never had. Like, he is really making sure I'm straight. Ooh. So I'm spending a lot of time with DeMarco now. And DeMarco is funny. Like, DeMarco is cool. DeMarco is funny. DeMarco makes sure I'm straight. So at this point, DeMarco and Jada, my girlfriend at the time, they starting to get cool too. So like sometimes shit, DeMarco be like, hey, go pick, like, let's pick up Jada. Like, let's all hang out, like whatever. And it used to be cool. It was normal to us. We was friends with DeMarco. One day I went to DeMarco's house and my girlfriend did not come with me this time. And I think I was mad at my mom or something. So I was going to actually spend a night at DeMarco's house. I did not want to be at home this night. So I don't know how or why I did it or what I was even doing, but I ended up calling. Y'all remember that other ex that I was telling y'all about in the beginning, Kayla, that had even introduced me to him? Somehow I ended up getting back cool with Kayla, or I ended up calling Kayla, and I was on FaceTime with Kayla in DeMarco's house. DeMarco come in the room. He like, who you on the phone with? Who you on the phone with? So I'm telling him like, this Kayla. You know Kayla, right? You know, feel me? DeMarco's whole demeanor changes. Like everything, like his whole, he like, hang up on her. But we laughing, so I'm hanging up on her. I'm like, whoa, what? So he like, why you on the phone with her or whatever? Like, don't talk to her no more. I'm thinking DeMarco was playing. I don't know why DeMarco don't, at this point, I don't know why DeMarco don't want me to talk to Kayla so bad. Like, you so, what? He like, why you talking to her? Like, you know, you supposed to be talking to Jada. In my head, now I'm starting to think like, bro, who is you to tell me who to talk to? Whether it's my ex, my girlfriend, who are you to tell me who I can talk to? So I'm like, all right, weirdo. Part 2 in a minute. Like for part 2.
This is textbook grooming, specifically love bombing. Notice the pattern? He didn't come on to her sexually at first. He bought her trust. He bought the dog, he paid the senior dues, he bought the prom dress. He created a debt of gratitude. He made himself indispensable to her and her mother. And that moment when he flipped out because she was talking to her ex, that was the mask slipping. That was the possessiveness kicking in. He was isolating her. The scariest part isn't that he was a psychopath who ended up in jail. It's how charming and generous he was right up until the end. It reminds us that monsters don't always hide in the dark. Sometimes they pay your bills. And sometimes that grooming happens in the most intimate, unsuspecting places, like sitting in a chair, getting your nails done, thinking you're just chatting with a concerned mom.
Grab a snack and eat lunch with me while I tell you the story about my old nail tech who was a PDF file. This story is going to involve sensitive topics and there's a lot of words that I will not be able to use or I will get banned on TikTok, so hopefully you will be able to pick up a lot of what I'm putting down. My mom actually met my old nail tech before I did. She used to go into my mom's work, and one day when my mom saw her, she noticed how cute her nails were, and so my mom asked her who did them, and she said that she was a nail tech. At the time, my mom and I had been looking for a private nail tech because we'd only been going to Walmart to get our nails done. And so my mom booked an appointment with her. My mom went to the appointment, came home, said that it took a really long time, but we'd never gone to a private nail tech before. So she wasn't surprised it took longer, but also her nails looked so good and they were exactly how she wanted them. So the next appointment, my mom booked for the both of us and we went, and it did take a really long time, like 3 to 4 hours per person. It took forever, but our nails looked so good. To this day, I will never deny the fact that she is an amazing nail tech because she does do a really good job, but she also did a lot of things that were very not good, which is why we are here. When we were first getting to know her, she had a very normal life. She was married, she had 2 kids. Her daughter was actually the same age that I was, and I met her and we got along really well. And we started seeing her regularly. Sometimes after appointments, we would go to lunch or we would go to dinner. Sometimes if my appointment was on a separate day as my mom's and my mom dropped me off or somebody else dropped me off, my nail tech would actually offer to take me home. And we started to just kind of become family friends. My mom could tell the longer that we were seeing her that her family was definitely struggling. She told us that she only went to nail school to be able to help pay the bills because her husband's job just did not make that much money, and it was getting close to Christmas time and my mom really wanted to help a family out for Christmas, so she thought, why don't we help their family? I'm going to give my nail tech a name now so that we can refer to her as that name so the story makes more sense. So we are just going to call her Tanya. So my mom and I decided to tell Tanya that we want to do Christmas for their family because we wanted to be able to take her shopping and just let her pick out what she thought her kids would like. It was going to be really fun. I was super excited because, like I said, the daughter was my age and I thought it'd be fun to go shopping for someone my age. But the day that we actually went shopping around Christmas time, she started to act really greedy, which was just not cool. My mom was doing a really nice thing for her and it almost just seemed like whatever my mom was doing wasn't enough and she wanted more and she wanted really expensive items. And there were definitely a few times where my mom had to tell her that we had reached the budget, but we still tried to keep our cool about it. My mom was super chill and super nice and she was understanding, and so we kind of just let it go. But I remember specifically while we were Christmas shopping, after we had left the mall, we were sitting in my mom's car and Tanya pulled something out of her purse and it looked like lipstick, and she just randomly says to me, this isn't actually a real lipstick, this is a pretend lipstick, it is a toy lipstick for adults. I just kind of sat there frozen and my mom didn't know what to say. She was like, Tanya, she's only 16, like why are you pulling that out? And Tanya's like, well, I just bring it with me just in case because I never know when I might need to use it. And that was the first thing that should have been kind of a major red flag, but we just tried to let it go. We didn't want it to ruin the Christmas shopping experience. My mom only got her nails done by her a few more times after that just because she started getting so busy and didn't have time to sit and get her nails done, but I still had quite a bit of free time, so I still continued to see her regularly. Once I started getting dropped off by myself, she was still nice, but she started saying things little by little that just weren't really sitting right with me, and I didn't notice it right away, but over time it definitely got progressively worse. The first thing that kind of stood out to me was when she added me on Snapchat. She didn't Snapchat me at first after I accepted her friend request, but a few days after I accepted her, she sent me a random photo of her in a swimming suit. And it was weird because it was only a few months after Christmas, so it was not summer yet. And I thought it was odd that she was asking for my opinion on whether or not I liked the swimming suit, but also thought maybe she just wants a girl's opinion on if the swimming suit's cute. So I told her I thought it was cute, and that was kind of that. Another one of the first things that was just a small thing that she had mentioned was I was getting my nails done one day, and she just randomly mentioned to me that she had an app on her phone for her and her husband to be able to send photos to each other that nobody else could see. If you know, you know. And I thought that was odd, but it was a really quick sentence that she said, and then she didn't say anything else that whole appointment. Another thing that she had mentioned after a few more appointments had gone by was that her daughter was put in a situation where a boy had forced her to do something that she didn't want to do, and Tanya just said that she was glad that it happened because now she doesn't have to teach her daughter how to do that thing, because now her daughter knows. And that really stuck with me because I felt terrible for her daughter, and I thought it was so weird that Tanya was thinking about it as a good thing when it definitely was not a good situation. Around the same time that she added me on Snapchat, I had also began a health journey. I started going to the gym regularly. I started trying the keto diet, and it was working really well for me. And I talked to her about it because I knew her and her husband loved to go to the gym. They were super big on health and fitness. And when I first told her what I was doing, she was super supportive, but also kind of concerned because when she was younger, she had some struggles with body image and eating disorders and things like that. And she just didn't want that to happen to me. And so her original comments that she had made just kind of came across as concerned mom comments. But then as I started losing more weight and it was becoming more noticeable of her, it seemed like she actually was getting super jealous, and she started making the weirdest comments and doing the weirdest things. Every single appointment, she would ask me what I had eaten that day. She wanted to know exactly what time I ate, what I had eaten, and if what I said wasn't to her liking, she would try to offer me cookies and cake and candy, and she would get super offended if I told her I didn't want any of it. Sometimes she would even say that she had leftover chicken and salad and would ask me if I was hungry, and sometimes when I went over there, I did get hungry because she took a long time to do my nails, but when I would tell her, yeah, sure, I could eat, she wouldn't offer me the chicken or salad. She would give me a slice of cake or a crumble cookie, and then was offended when I said that I didn't want that because that's not lunch food or dinner food, it's treats. I was definitely eating fine. I was actually probably eating more than I'd ever eaten in my life because I was eating a ton of protein all the time, every single day, but she did not believe me and would literally try force feeding me every single time I went to her house. I still loved the way she did my nails, and I tried not to get offended by any of the comments because at the time I was thinking that maybe she was just genuinely concerned, but now I realize that it was definitely weird, especially because of everything else I'm going to tell you. But that is where we will end part 1 because I'm pretty sure this video is probably getting too long.
Okay, the toy lipstick was red flag number 1, but the food policing? That is insidious. This woman, Tanya, was projecting her own eating disorders and body image issues onto a 16-year-old client. That is abuse. But the swimsuit photo? Sending a swimsuit photo to a minor client and asking for an opinion? That is grooming behavior. She was crossing boundaries left and right, testing the waters to see what this girl would tolerate. And the worst part is how she framed it as concern. I'm just worried about your health. No. You are controlling a child's body and intake. That is psychological predation, plain and simple. We've seen strangers, we've seen service providers, we've seen fake friends. But nothing cuts deeper than when the person endangering you is the one person you are supposed to trust with your life.
How a hacker helped me find out that my boyfriend was a predator. I saw a woman on here who had a very similar story, and it reminded me of this. I'm like, oh my God, bitch, I have to tell my story. So the year's 2019, I was 19 years old. This was just before fucking COVID, like the pandemic, okay? So keep that in mind. I had been talking to this guy who was, when we got together, I was 19 and he was 22, but I had been talking to him for almost a year, okay? So we were talking for like a year. We finally get together. And we're together for like 4 months, and he decides that he's enlisting in the Navy. And I'm like, okay. So he fucking leaves for the Navy. Okay. I'm like hating it, but I'm loving it. I'm all like, oh, I'm this like Navy girlfriend. Anyway, we could hardly talk because he was in boot camp and stuff. And then when he finally got out, we would like write letters. Couldn't really text too much. Okay, until he finally messaged me and was like, okay, you know, like we're at a good point where we can talk, but I have to go out to the ship now. You know, it's going to be 7 days and then I'll be back. I'll have service. We can text. We don't really have to write letters anymore. Cool. Okay. He goes out on the ship. Not 2 days pass. I get a hey girly text on Facebook. Hey girly, do you know Abraham? Yes, I'm saying his name. Cause girl. And I was like, yeah, that's my boyfriend. Why do you ask? Heart is in my asshole, by the way. They're like, well, we have a video of him, and if you don't send us $500, we're gonna send it to his family and post it. And I was like, where did you get it? What the fuck? How do I even know you're talking about my fucking boyfriend? I know scams, okay? You fucking weirdo. They're like, no, yeah, this is your boyfriend. I'm like, okay, if it is my boyfriend and he sent it to you, that means he's cheating on me, so post it. I don't give a fuck. I wish I had the fucking screenshots so I could show you, bro. But the person did fucking deactivate their account and like block me and shit as soon as like all this was over. But anyway, I'm telling them like, if he fucking cheated on me, post it. I don't want to fucking be with a cheater. Okay. Maybe that'll fucking teach him. And I'm like, but how do I know it's my boyfriend? And they're like, well, it just is. It's Abraham. And I'm like, okay, but how do I believe you? Because mind you, I had known this man for like almost 2 years at this point. Okay. We had been dating for almost a year at this point. Right. So naive, 19, and a little crazy from the pandemic. I chose to fucking try to believe my man. You know what I mean? Give him the benefit of the doubt. So I was like, but how do I know that you're talking about my man? How do I know that this isn't just like a scam? Clearly it fucking was, but some shit was done. They're like, okay, we'll prove it to you. And they send a picture, and the picture's like from a phone, and it's of like a computer screen, and on the computer screen is a photo, and it's not even a photo, it's like stopped in a video, and all you can see is a hand and it holding, I know my shit. Why is that my shit on your fucking phone? On your computer? Bro, I was like, I'm pretty sure, like mentally I was fucking crashing out. But I couldn't let them know that. So I was like, that could be anybody's. Like, how am I supposed to know that that's really my man's? You know what I mean? Like, and if it is, still, post it. I don't care. They FaceTime me, bitch. I didn't see the people on the screen, but they FaceTime me. They've got the phone, and they're pointing it at the computer screen. And it's a video of my man, ex at the time, obviously. Or ex now. Man at the time, I meant to say. My man at the time, fucking, he's in his uniform, hat low, covering his eyes and shit. On camera, mind you, I had asked this man to send me so many of those fucking videos. And he's like, oh, I just don't make videos like that. Like, what? So I see this, and I'm not only fucking pissed because how did you get this? But I'm fucking livid because why did you get this? So I was fucking mad. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Dude, I started freaking out. I was like, that's my man. Where did you get this? How did you get this? What's going on? You know, if he cheated on me, then post it. I don't care, because I was upset. They go, oh my God, bitch, I gotta hold your hand for this. They go, he thought he was sending it to a 16-year-old girl. What do you mean? What do you fucking mean? Oh my God. And so at that point, I'm crashing out. I get out of the messages. I'm screenshotting shit. At least I thought that I did. I also have a new phone now. So like, I'm pretty sure that I did, but I don't fucking know where they are. But I text my boyfriend. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Obviously he's on the ship. He can't respond to me for a few days. So I'm like going insane over the course of the next 5 days. He finally gets off the ship and he calls me and he's like, oh my gosh, you know, I've been meaning to talk to you about it. Like I was so worried that they were going to message you. I've already tried paying them a whole bunch of money. Like my account's dry because of this and they just won't stop, blah, 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 blah. That should have been my first fucking clue. Okay, first of all, like I said, I was 19 and naive and I already paid them money. Why the fuck would you pay them money if it was... Mind you, I have a spicy account, and if anybody was ever like, I'm gonna post your shit, okay. Unfortunately, that's the kind of world that, like, that's the kind of business that I've gotten myself into. You're telling me you paid them money? You did something wrong. And he's like, my phone was hacked. Bitch, okay, you're gonna be so mad at me. I chose to believe him. Oh my God. Because I was fucking stupid and I was 19. And then, however, though, because he just denied. And I come from a family of toxic shit. I should have known better, but I didn't. I think like a week or two later, my sister messages me and she's like, hey, you know how you were telling me about all that stuff that went on with your boyfriend? How he got hacked and stuff? I'm like, yeah. And she goes, so the same exact thing just happened to my really close friend and her husband, and he admitted to it. So I don't think he got hacked. Bro. Yeah, that was a rough time for me. That was fucking rough.
This twist? I did not see that coming. The hacker was the hero. Can we just appreciate that for a second? A stranger on the internet cared more about her safety than her own boyfriend of 2 years? The fact that he blamed a hack, paid off the blackmailers, and gaslit her, only for it to be revealed that he was doing this to multiple people? It makes you question everything. It's that sinking feeling in your stomach when you realize the person sleeping next to you is a complete stranger. She was 19, he was 22. Not a huge age gap, but a massive maturity and morality gap. He wasn't just cheating, he was predatory. All of these stories involve adults failing to protect or actively harming. But the most heartbreaking failure of protection happens when a parent chooses a partner over their own child.
One day when I was 7, my mom woke me up for school and was like, hey, after school, we're not coming home. We're gonna go live with Bud. And I was like, who's Bud? And my mom's like, you know that girl Josie who's in your class at school? And yeah, her dad. We're gonna go live with them. And I was like, okay, so like you, me, my older sister, and my dad? And my mom's like, well, yeah, but not your dad. He's not coming. And I was like, okay. And sure enough, after school, my mom picks up me and my sister, and instead of going home, we go to an apartment. Now remember, I'm 7 years old, but I've been so sheltered and coddled my entire life that I was basically like a 5-year-old. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I was just rolling with it. So we walk in, and it's mostly empty. There's a futon in the living room. And then I see something that looks really familiar. I'm like, we have that same vacuum, and it's even broken in the same spot. How weird. And my mom's like, that's our vacuum. We live here now. And I was like, oh yeah, right. So I'm just starting to absorb this information when, guess who walks in the door? Josie. Yeah, the girl that bullies me at school. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm living here now with Josie and her older sister Jenna and this man that I guess I've met before a couple times, briefly, very briefly. So I'm like, where's our bedroom? And my mom shows me an empty bedroom. And I'm like, and so in my brain, I'm like, okay, so naturally you, mom, and me and our sister, like, we're gonna share a bedroom, and then they're all gonna share another bedroom. And my mom's like, no, I'm gonna share a room with Bud. And I'm like, huh? And then I see that they have a king-sized bed in their room. And I'm like, you're gonna sleep in a bed with this guy? Where's Dad? And mind you, I had always slept in between my parents in their bed. I was terrified of sleeping alone. So I'm like, I'm gonna be sleeping in this bed with Bud too? And my mom's like, no, you're gonna sleep in this other room. And I'm like, I can't sleep with you? And she's like, no. And I'm like, well, where's my bed? And she's like, oh, we're gonna get you guys beds soon, but you guys are gonna sleep on the floor tonight. Oh yeah, by the way, this is in the middle of a school week. This is like a Tuesday, okay? Holy trauma. Okay, so my mom's like telling me that I need to go take a bath, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. Can you help me out with that? You know, because I've never taken a bath alone before. I don't know how to do that. And my mom's like, you can figure it out. Just turn on the water. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I've never taken a bath before, and I've never been in this particular bathtub. I don't know how to, I've never, what? Mom? Mom? And my new stepsisters, Josie and Jenna, are standing there, and they're like, you don't know how to take a bath? Why don't you just take a shower? And I'm like, I don't take a shower, I take a bath. And I don't know how to do it. I've never done it before. And they're like, oh my God, you still take baths and you don't even know how to run the water on your own? And I'm like, no, I don't. Because in the past, my mom, A, never taught me, and B, anytime I wanted to do something independent like that, I was told that I'm not allowed to. I would get in trouble if I had done that yesterday, but now I'm expected to do it. And obviously, I'm like so embarrassed in this moment. And I think I started crying, honestly. And now Jenna and Josie, like, they already thought I was weird, but now they like really think I'm weird. And I feel weird. I feel so weird. So I end up taking this bath. I don't even remember how that went. And when I get out, I'm ready to go snuggle up with my mom and watch some shows. But oh, hey, no, she's in the bedroom with Bud and the door is locked. So I'm knocking. I'm like, Mom, like, it's evening time. Like, this is the time where we like watch TV together and like hang out, cuddle. And apparently not. Apparently I'm bothering them, and I'm supposed to be just doing something, whatever, with the other kids in the house. So I'm like so scared and so traumatized because I'm like I had a very insecure attachment with my mom. Had never really been away from her, and now like I'm locked out of her room. I can't sleep with her, and I'm gonna sleep on the floor with two girls. One I don't really know, and the other one bullies me at school. And my sister, who also hated me. So this was a 3-bedroom apartment, and I was meant to sleep in a bedroom with my older sister, and Josie and Jenna were in the other bedroom. But in the night, Josie was like, hey, do you guys want to switch? Me and Josie in one room, and Jenna and my sister in the other room. So I end up sleeping with Josie that night, and we're all on the floor, is whatever. And we kind of bond because, like, we have to. So the next day we get up and we all go to school together. We go to class as usual, and then lunchtime rolls around. Josie comes up to me and she's like, hey, come here. Invites me to sit at her table with like the cool older kids. Remember, they're 3rd grade. I'm a weird 1st grader. But I sit down and Emily is so confused. Like, she probably thought that Josie was bringing me over as like a sacrifice. Like, this is like a joke, a prank on me or something. And she gives Josie a look like, what are you doing? And Josie says to her, you can't be mean to her anymore because she's my stepsister now. Let me know if you want to hear more because there is a lot.
This one hurts. This one really hurts. You take a 7-year-old child, uproot her life on a Tuesday, throw her into a strange apartment with a bully, and then lock the door? That is abandonment. The bath scene broke me. A 7-year-old saying, I don't know how to run the water, isn't being difficult. It's a child who has been coddled to the point of dependency and then suddenly punished for that dependency. She was scared, she was confused, and her mother was behind a locked door with Bud. That little girl wasn't just losing her home. She was realizing that in the hierarchy of her mother's love, she came second to a man. And that is a trauma that lasts a lifetime.
We have been on a roller coaster today. We started with the absurdity of a soap opera affair and ended with the quiet, crushing heartbreak of a neglected child. And while these stories seem completely different on the surface, from stalkers to pimps to bad nail clients, there is a single razor-sharp thread connecting every single one of them. Instinct versus politeness. Think about the woman with the stalker, Andrew. She helped him because she was kind. She tried to let him down nicely because that is what we are taught to do. Think about the girl with the big brother figure, DeMarco. She ignored the weird vibes because he was generous, because he was family, because it felt rude to question someone doing so much for her. Think about the nail client who sat there eating cake she didn't want because she didn't want to offend the woman grooming her. We live in a society that trains us, especially from a young age, to be agreeable, to not make a scene, to give people the benefit of the doubt. But here is the hard truth that these stories scream at us. Your politeness can be your vulnerability. Predators, whether they are financial scammers, groomers, or just toxic family members, rely on your social training. They rely on the fact that you will feel awkward saying no, stop, or get away from me. The 13-year-old girl in the park survived, not because she was polite, but because she ran. The girlfriend with the predator boyfriend only found the truth because a stranger broke the social contract and intervened. The nail tech in the first story protected her peace by finally drawing a hard line in the sand regarding payment. It is terrifying to realize that the people we trust, mothers, boyfriends, mentors, can be the ones who hurt us the most. It shakes the foundation of your world. But there is also empowerment in these stories. Every time one of these people shared their truth, they broke the silence. They validated that weird feeling you might be having right now about someone in your life. If there is one thing you take away from this video, let it be this. If your gut tells you something is wrong, it is wrong. You do not owe anyone an explanation. You do not owe a stranger a smile. You do not owe a nice guy your time just because he bought you a gift. And you certainly do not owe a toxic parent your silence. Being rude might save your life. Being difficult might protect your boundaries. So embrace it. Trust yourself more than you trust the image others present to you. I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a moment where you suppressed your gut instinct to be polite and immediately regretted it? Or maybe a time where being rude actually saved you? Let's talk about it in the comments. Stay safe, trust your gut, and I'll see you in the next one.